Hey,
How you doing?
what's going on, Austin? How you doing today? We are live already. Just a heads up.
I got you.
Um, how you doing today?
I'm chilling. I can't complain. Can't complain.
No doubt. Excited to dig in. I'll do a little intro here for the podcast wise. Edit up the beginning and end, and crank it out on all the platforms. We are live right now and on YouTube and playback, and then I'll get it out on Spotify and Apple and probably YouTube again, edited and all that. So excited to get rolling. Do you have anything you want me to pull up or bring that we didn't mention yet?
No,
I have
I
your
think
article
I'm.
here.
Yeah, no, I think I'm good. My Twitter's the one that you plugged in the tweet already. You already got that, so I I'm all good. So
I like it. All right, let's roll. Today we are learning basketball with Austin Dobbins. He is a writer on SI for the Magic and the Heat. My teammate on the SI team. I haven't officially announced here on the pod. I'll be covering the Magic on SI this year, so super excited for that. And just excited to get Austin here and pick his brain a little bit about your path in basketball and your just kind of your process and philosophies when it comes to scouting tape, writing stories, just how do you get the ideas churning for what to write about and what interests you when it comes to just your process.
yeah, sounds good. I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about it and ready to go. So
Perfect. Let's start off with your background a little bit. What brought you into basketball to begin with? Whether it's as a former athlete, whether it's just interest in watching and writing. What brings you to the on SI team today?
yeah, so it's kind of it's just a. I guess it's a good story for anybody that wants to get started with anything. It all started with a DM on Twitter, and it was actually to write for the Dolphins with one of the local websites down in South Florida. And I was writing for them for a little bit, and then I got in contact with our current managing partner, Ethan Skolnick, with the Five Reasons Sports Network, and I started writing for him. And basically, I just was doing work for him, and an opportunity fell in line to now write for on SI for the Heat and the Magic, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity and excited to write with a bunch of people that are much more qualified than me. So I'm just grateful to be here with all y'all. So and then as far as like basketball goes, my first memory, like just falling in love with the game, was sitting on the couch when Ray Allen hit the shot. That's literally my first basketball memory.
Man,
A little young, so that makes it's a little bit different. But that's my first memory, and ever since then, like I found my dad's a Heat fan. I fell in love with basketball. I was never good enough to play. I played baseball, but I always love watching basketball. So
hey man, you're on the team because you deserved it, and same with the whole writing team there. I mean, people are working hard, and you're getting noticed for putting out the the analysis that you do, and it's getting noticed. So you deserve to be on this team, and we can't wait to get rolling when it comes to all that. So in terms of the writing itself, how do you come up with a story? What do you think of? What are you looking for when it comes to stories? And do you have any advice to others that kind of want to break into sports media advice as well? Maybe trends to follow when it comes to the story writing.
yeah, I think honestly, like for me, it's just mostly transparency and being able to view things from like both sides, right? So everybody can have an opinion. Everybody wants to hear opinions, but it's also important to be able to like be yourself and in your opinion, like still understand where another person's coming from, especially as you're growing on social media and stuff like that. I think social media is huge, especially in the sports media world, just to get your name out there and people, know who you are and be able to engage in conversation, not like arguments or anything, and stuff like that. So I think that is very important in that. And for me, like the articles just kind of just come about. Like I'll just be scrolling on Twitter or just a conversation with my friends, and we'll talk about something, or I just have a thought and I just write about it just like I talk about it. So that's the biggest thing. So
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you're trying to follow trends and also just interesting to kind of keep up with the community and see what fans are talking about and interested in and try to explore that because we're basketball fans too, so we're thinking that way. But it's great to kind of pick the brains of other fans, see what they're interested in, and then maybe something clicks, and you think of something cool to dig into and really find the answers to. That's probably the most interesting part of getting into this is like from the fan perspective thinking, that would be cool to know that or find information out. And now we have more resources to kind of find that information and get direct quotes from the people involved. And at the very least, try to pick the brains of, the geniuses out there on the court that are actually pulling all this off. So, what brings you to covering the Heat and the Magic specifically? Any particular reason?
The main reason is just because when I had was writing for the Five Reasons Sports Network, I was covering the teams of South Florida. And when Ethan took over for us, the opportunity presented itself to write for the Heat. And obviously, they're the team I follow most closely, as I am a fan as well. Which sometimes I will say, like as a writer, makes it a little hard. Which is why, like I was talking about at the beginning, it's important for the perspective piece because you have to, take a step back and really analyze what's going on and not just be, the hopeful optimist all the time like that, like, always wants to be, the best team in the league, even if they can't be, or even just, the super pessimistic outlook. So, yeah, you have to find a good balance while judging both sides of the story. And then as far as the Magic goes, I live in Tampa, but my school is only an hour away from Orlando. So it's pretty close. And obviously I follow them just as closely as I do the whole league, to be honest. So,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And the Southeast Division, where we got the two Florida teams here, a little bit of a budding, let's say, rivalry. The thing with the Heat Magic rivalry for me, it feels forced for one reason. The teams are never too great at the same time. We always seem to be like ships passing in the night.
yep,
Like,
yep.
we get Shaq and Penny Magic just as the Alonzo Heat kind of come into the fold. And we got a little bit of that. That was like probably the peak of this rivalry because then we get Wade and Shaq Heat. Then we get Magic Dwight. Then we get the Heatles, and we just keep missing each other for these contending windows. So it's like we're forced to play 4 times a year. Everyone's seen the game the same time 5,000 times with the
Yep.
same matchups. But finally, we're getting back into both of these teams are playoff teams. We know the Heat's established identity. We're interested how the offense is going to mix it up this year, and the Magic could have a totally different identity altogether this year, and that's what I'm most excited to see. So let's shift over to the teams themselves a little bit. I'm going to pull up some of your work on SI. Let's see how this looks here. I like it. Stretch it out while we're talking, but let's start with Coach Spo. Recently, Eric Spoelstra promoted to head coach of Team USA, the FIBA Olympic teams. He should be taken over as soon as 2027. I think I read. What's the reaction been like in just the Miami Heat world of seeing Coach Spo get this honor that he's well deserved? One of the best coaches, smartest coaches around for what feels like 2 decades running.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's super excited for him. It's, I mean, a really deserved opportunity. He's been one of the best coaches. He always does more with less. He was there with Steve Kerr, you know, 2 years ago or like last year, whenever it was, doing his thing. And he's, I mean, he's a top 15 coach in NBA history. That's already been talked about. He's on the right track. And, everybody's excited for what he can do. And I know Heat fans are excited to see the players that are on his roster that could maybe be future Miami Heat players. So,
Yeah, it's just an awesome honor. He's been kind of in this world for a long time, kind of second in command, third in command behind Steve Kerr and Coach Pop. So it's just cool to see because like you said, he's one of the best coaches, period. He has everyone's respect, top to bottom, whether it's players, coaches, front office, perennially winning, the kind of the executive of the year ballots and surveys. And anytime you survey people, his name pops up for a good reason. So
yep.
it's an awesome honor to him. And I'm interested as well if Coach Mosley, the Magic's head coach, is on something of a similar path because Coach Mosley is currently kind of the head of the JV Olympic team, the younger Olympic team that develops all the players that we see later play for the Olympic team themselves. So we'll see. Obviously, Coach Spo is just getting started here, so he might take hold of this for another who knows how long, 10 years, 20 years, or something. He deserves it. But I actually kind of thought maybe Coach Mosley would be in the running for the next position as well. So I, at the very least, hope he's kind of involved and that there is on the staff and gets to both of them get to kind of learn from each other and both get a little bit of what you hinted at, just working with these great players, like whether it's recruiting, whether it's learning practice habits that you hear about other players picking up by watching. Maybe it's just learning communication of how to like promote or motivate, I should say, great players to accept a role, to be a part of a team. Because if they're willing to do it, anyone should be. So that it's super interesting, and that also brings me to, I guess, on the Olympics themselves. How do you expect this to go right away? Do you think it'll be a seamless transition and maybe even as good as ever, maybe even better right away?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the fact that Spoelstra was there in the last Olympic run is going to help a lot because he's just kind of stepping into the next position, and I feel like he's always attracted players that want to do they want to win. They want like the people that want to come play for the country. Like they're going to be excited to play for Spoelstra, but also they're representing the United States. And I think Spoelstra is the perfect guy just to get people right away, bought in. Um, and go win a gold medal. So
There it is. And I'm gonna pull up the Coach of the Year odds for the NBA here as we're talking. But you had an article here that talks a little bit about his Coach of the Year odds that I believe I just had pulled up. I might have just lost it. There it is. So uh, can Eric Spoelstra finally claim the award that's eluded him? Talking about Coach of the Year odds, when you think about it, absolutely insane that Coach Spo has never won a Coach of the Year award, given all the success he's had. Going back to the Heedle years, and making the finals with the Jimmy team. What do you think? What did you lay out in the article here that kind of lays out the case of how he can win the award this year?
yeah, essentially the reasoning that I went with, and it's kind of similar to another player on the Heat with his situation with Defensive Player of the Year, but Spoelstra is expected to do these things with the Heat. Like he's done it for so long now. He didn't get it in the years that he might have deserved it, but now the Heat's success is expected. And if it's not, that bar that they've set for themselves all the way back to Pat Riley's years, then it's not good enough. And a lot of awards in all sports, honestly, come down to narrative. So this year, I laid out it's a good time to get away from the natural Miami Heat thing. You're gone, no Jimmy Butler. You don't have the true alpha on the team. And basically, I just laid out that this year's a growth year. You got a lot of young guys. It's kind of one of those teams that you look at and it's like, oh, Eric Spoelstra's he's kind of going to make some work out of this. And basically, I laid it out that if the Heat can get into the top six, the Eastern Conference, depending on how everything lays out, if he can get the growth out of the guys. Like Jaquez and get Pella Larson back in, and obviously Kalel Ware and Nikola Jovic, then he would be deserving once again, he doing more with less. So the Heat have built, the standard at the very top. So it's kind of it's delayed their recognition, I'd say, in the award category. But
Yeah, I mean the league has come to expect Heat success. The idea that like their playoff run can happen any year. I mean they've shown that time and time again, making the finals as an 8 seed. And something you said definitely clicked in that, like if anyone's going to get credit for the success of the Heat team this year, where the expectations are a little more middling, it probably is Coach Spo, where like there isn't a clear Jimmy Butler star to say, oh, it's clearly because of Jimmy's swagger and hustle that the team is winning. No, it's Coach Spo setting up the schemes and finding the balance for this team to win games more than expected. And Vegas doesn't necessarily see it as a favorite. He would be Jamal Mosley, the Magic's coach, is actually the favorite as of now for FanDuel. Quinn Snyder, the Hawks coach, is right behind him. We got Pistons and Knicks, JB Bickerstaff and Mike Brown behind them. And then we've got Rockets, Clippers, Sixers, Celtics tied behind them. And then Spoelstra comes in the next group after that. So roughly 10th, tied for 10th best odds, top 15 best odds. But that tells me that while Vegas doesn't expect it to happen, basically that means if the Heat out succeed expectations, that the credit's going to go somewhere, and normally that is the coach on top of kind of the not star list because they have Bam, but celebrity lists almost. Lack of clear face of the league type of star to not credit to. Like normally credit goes to the star, but if
Hmm.
Bam's not going to get it, it'll probably go to Spo for this year. Is that kind of the idea that
Yeah,
that's kind of the expectations for the team?
yeah. I mean, I agree. I think, and it's just one of those years. So it's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of pieces that like you look at and it's like, oh, okay, something could work with this, but there's not a true 1A guy. And that's now the problem now that Jimmy's gone. So
Yeah. Well, that when it comes to credit, then Spo deserves it, and they have come to uh, like you said, the league has sort of come to expect success, and a lot of it is because of Coach Spo. Like we know that Pat Riley wants to win every year and is going to go all in on trying to build a contender that year and stay relevant. And Coach Spo is going to come out and execute the best he can. And there's some rumors that they might even mix up the offense compared to the last few years. And I'd love to, if you have any details on that, I'd love to dig into that just a little bit with you. Like, obviously, we've seen a lot of Tyler Hero putting up all-star numbers for a minute there. Bam Adebayo is a handoff machine. He's one of the best handoff hubs in the NBA. So they play a lot through him. Duncan Robinson still has that shooting gravity. I think Norm Powell is going to come in as a shooter, get his production up very quickly, and kind of be the one that pops to a higher, let's say, like is the most drastic change from the last season. Obviously, he's a new player, but they're just kind of missing some offensive firepower, and he brings it. He was almost like hidden offensive firepower over on the
yeah,
Clippers. So he's the one that stands out to me. What do you think will look most different about this offense for the Heat?
yeah. So I think an underrated loss that he gravitated a lot toward losing Duncan's a big deal.
Mm,
He left, and that's going to be a huge problem for the offense. So far this preseason, they've played with a higher pace, which they talk about trying to play faster, but they do this every preseason. They play with a higher pace in the preseason, and it gets to the regular season, and it kind of just fizzles out again. They play one of the slower offenses in the league. Rely on their defensive tendencies, and just try and keep themselves in the game. But this problem so far this preseason, and my biggest concern for the Heat's offense, especially while Hero's gone, uh, they rank 33rd out of 34 teams in total
mm,
3-point attempts this preseason, and they're 28th in 3-point percentage.
mm.
So obviously, you bring in a guy like Norm. He's 40% from three, great 3-point shooter, great driver, like shoot and drive, like he does it all. But the time while Hero's gone, they're going to lose that. Norm's going to attract a lot of attention. Somebody's going to have to step up offensively. Even when Hero comes back, you have two guys on the floor, but then when you get down into the bench in the second unit, the shooting is not there anymore. Once you lose Duncan, like nobody gravitates the attention and opens up the offense. So I'm very interested to see who will step up and take that leap to at least space the floor better. Because in the modern NBA, I mean, you got to be able to score at all three levels. And if you, I mean, for the Magic last year, that's why the Bane acquisition is so huge. They were terrible from beyond the arc, and we saw in the playoff series how it hindered their offensive capabilities. And even if they played great on defense, they just couldn't keep up with the high-powered offense. So it's going to be it for the Heat. It's going to be all about who steps up. So far and I'm sure we'll talk about it in a little bit, but Khalil Ware, he's been the best. He's a walking double-double. It's great to watch, and he's actually been Miami's best three-point shooter this preseason. So
Yeah.
take that for
Where,
what you
where
will. But
where's legit? Where's legit? I didn't mention him off the top, but honestly, his development could really be the biggest X factor for this team because he might not be Wembanyama, but he's got a little Wemby to his game. Like he's just doing. And to your point about some of the preseason numbers, like it wasn't great for Miami. We don't have to put too much stock into preseason, but the Magic, just as an example, the Magic finished with the number one offense in which is amazing to say through 4 games in the preseason, which hasn't probably ever happened in the last decade, at least.
yeah, probably not.
Not since the Magic put out a stat today, like first time the Magic have gone 4-0 in the preseason since the Dwight years, and I'm like, we're gonna see the first time since the Dwight years stat like every
A
game
lot.
this season,
Yeah.
just every time the Magic do something. So preseason wise, the Magic rank first overall in point differential, first on offense, ranked first in free throw rate and offensive rebound percentage, and actually only had the 11th best defense through the preseason. The Celtics and Clippers and Miami are the top three defenses. So Miami had the second best. Oh, sorry, I looked at the wrong category. Miami has the eighth best defense of the preseason, second in shooting percentage on defense, and that's kind of it. The rest is they have two rankings in the 12th. I'm looking at the four factors on the cleaning the glass site. Just a brief summary of how the teams performed, and like you said, it wasn't quite there offensively yet. So I'm just interested to see kind of what this new offense looks like. Like, if we're used to Bam handoffs with Tyler Hero, what else is gonna kind of grow? Maybe like how big could Khalil Ware's role be? Do you think he could, I don't know, be starter minutes and top three?
In my eyes, we see at some point a lineup where Jovic, Ware, and Bam are all on the floor at the same time. So
Mm. That would be something. Jovic is the other kind of wild card I wanted to ask about. Have you seen anything in his development since he first arrived that maybe you've been impressed with most? I want to say, I don't know if it was because he was a Euro prospect, but he had a little bit of a Gallinari type of aesthetic, I guess, coming in where you could see a big wing scorer shooter type just kind of thriving as kind of a versatile offensive player. Have you seen that kind of develop into that framework and kind of how he's actually producing in reality nowadays?
yeah, I think it's. I mean, what do they call it? The point forward nowadays, kind of like that
There you
Tatum and even Wagner build. I mean, his size, he can dribble the ball and he can shoot. Last year, he was 45% from the field and 37% from free, with 80% from the free throw line. And he's grown every year. His biggest concern is he has yet to play more than 50 games in a season. So
go.
when he was a rookie, like he was really struggling from three, and since that's he was like 23% from three, I think, as a rookie, and he's boosted that all the way to 40%. So um, and he's had huge breakouts against Cleveland last year. I remember there was a game where he scored like 24 and was lights out. In the playoff game when he got the few minutes, he was the lone spark that kind of like kept us in the game. It was one of the few guys that was outputting 100% effort. And then for those of you that don't watch Eurobasket, he was playing alongside Nikola Jokic and he looked really good numerous times. And he's a big factor in just the Heat's offensive potential. He's gotten so much better from when he first got into the league. So I think if you're looking at things where he needs and keeps working the way he has been, I could see him, being 15 points per game kind of guy, getting 5 assists, 5 boards a night. And that would be, that would be great. That would be great. So
Yeah, and are there any maybe end of the bench Heat guys or just kind of lesser known role players that we haven't touched on yet that you think are actually going to have pretty important roles this season that might the Heat success might rely on?
yeah, Pella Larson, that's our guy.
There you
Uh,
go.
Same thing. He had a great Eurobasket. He he's one of those Miami Heat guys. He's the guy who just does things that you ask him to. He finishes through contact. He just plays basketball the right way. He's gritty defender, and he gets to the free throw line. That's something that the Miami Heat, like last year, especially when Jimmy left, like they missed out on. They didn't have the reason they blew so many of those leads. They didn't have a closer. They had nobody that could get to the free throw line. And Pella does that. He's not afraid to fight through contact and drive downhill. I expect his minutes to be big, and then obviously everybody knows about Davion Mitchell. His
Mm.
impact when he got to the Heat last year was huge. So he will have a big role, and I would say he probably starts while Hero is out. So
Yeah. What is it? No nights off or
yeah,
something like that?
off night, yeah,
Off
off
night.
night.
Off player to me, like the kind of guy that like might not make it like in three other situations, but like on the contrary, could be a great rotation player for the Heat under Coach Spo. Like just that exact archetype of guy where I mean the defense is off the charts, just like one of the best point of attack hustle guys that you're going to find around the league. And if he can fine tune that 3 point shot, I mean that's a real DN3 option to kind of plug and play almost any lineup out there. So just seems like the ultimate like just another one of these guys that like look the same after leaving the
Yeah,
Heat as
nope, they
well.
sure
Like
don't. Yeah.
it's just something in the air down there that gets the most out of them, I guess. But definitely excited to see Davion Mitchell in a full role there, kind of full off season. See what his role looks like. So we've mentioned a few different names here. I think we've hit on all the big names and newcomers. Jamie Hasquez. I might have mispronounced the name. Thoughts on him through the preseason here, and just kind of, is he finding a groove yet? I know he's kind of been a little up and down, I guess.
Yeah,
Obviously, he came
his
out of the gates really strong as a rookie.
yeah, he went through the proverbial sophomore slump, to
Mm.
say the least. But he dealt with a lot of injuries, and kind of stuff out of his control. I expect him to bounce back. He's just gotta he has to expand upon his game. Like he likes to spin right into the middle of the paint and kind of get himself double teamed and trapped and turn the ball over a lot. But so far, his preseason success has been on those driving kicks. We've seen his dunk the other day on Wembayana. That was crazy. And his development is another piece. Him being able to drive an attack and just kick the ball out and find the right guy will be huge. And he's actually another person who I talked about the other day in regards to the 3 point shot, who's actually stepped up from beyond the arc. He's not known for his 3 point capability, volume, not as much as where, but he's been much better this preseason. He looks bouncier. He looks ready to go. So I don't expect him to play a huge role like right away, but he's going to get minutes off the bench, and everybody, is going to get an opportunity for however long Hero's out. So however he takes advantage of that opportunity will be crucial in his role throughout the season. So
Yeah, and I'm not sure if the average fan thinks of the same. You ask the Heat players, how do you see this season expectations? Like clearly the expectations are to improve.
yeah, so I wrote about this one the other day too. The over under on most books for the Heat's win total is like 37 and a half. They've been in the league for 38 years now, and they've only missed that mark 11 times. I think as an athlete, like you're always going to instill that confidence in yourself, in your teammates, in your coaches, and always in the preseason, everybody's always, the sky's the limit for every team, and none of that matters till we get to the court. But I just think about this Heat team in regards to the fact that the Jimmy Butler drama is gone. You add Norman Powell for basically nothing. Like you get him on, I don't know how they were able to get him for what they got him for. And you just, as long as people grow the way they're supposed to, you can get a few guys to bounce back. I don't see how an Eric Spoelstra led team, who has rarely ever missed that number, doesn't reach that number. I expect, I hate being in the middle ground, but they're going to be somewhere in that middle, anywhere from 10 to probably 5 seed in the East. And they're just going to fight every night, and the confidence is there for a reason. That's what athletes do. So I expect them to be somewhere above 500, probably like 3 games above 500. That would be my expectation for them. So the over of 37.5 is what I would be going with. But I wouldn't say
Up like a decent playoff seed that, if you finish eighth last year through all the turmoil you just kind of brought up, and you get a little more consistency, familiarity, continuity for this unit going into next year, build on it. If you told me they, finished the 4 seed or finished the 7 seed, and either way they won 2 rounds, like you would not surprise me with the Miami Heat just like coming through, especially just you got Bam, you got Spo, you have a defensive culture here. We didn't mention Terry Rozier. He's been a little disappointing on that side of things, but he still can be explosive on any given night. And Vlad Golden, an interesting rookie out of Michigan as well, a nice solid rim roller, just kind of a reliable traditional rim roller, rim protector type to throw out there. So a little bit of depth and kind of a more traditional big man compared to some of the more unique skill sets that Miami's starters and main role guys have. So interesting there. And then Wiggins just brings some solidarity, just a solid, bankable. You know what you're getting, like
Hmm.
defensive wing. Throw him at the big wings defensively, and good for 18 a night scoring, or maybe 20 and 20 plus on any given night. So I do think the continuity is worth something here, where that kind of favors the Heat this season and could easily see them creep up a few spots, even as, Atlanta also from below them improved. But outside of Atlanta and, maybe the Sixers bouncing back, I don't really think any team below them is going to really challenge them for like pushing for wins. Though, I think the Raptors and Hornets got better, but not that. Um, in that realm, I think, and I think the Heat are right there. Basically, is where we're getting at on that 500 level ball with a elite defense and a legit star in Adebayo, and a bunch of kind of budding prospects. So it will be definitely interesting to see just kind of what scheme they get there. So you've also written about the Magic a little bit. I'd love to hear your thoughts on both sides as well. Just kind of shifting gears. It
Seasons or something like that.
Yeah, top four defense the last 2 years in a row, and they were second last year.
Yeah, and just seeing a team that doesn't quit is always great. I know they were one of the best fourth quarter teams in the league last year. They were the comeback kids for a while there. The Heat blew a lead to them, pretty bad one. But they I'm if I'm a Magic fan, I would be extremely excited about what's going on there. Coach Mosley, the hype might feel a little weird for Magic fans, especially because it's been a while. But I mean, every national media outlet, anybody that writes some, they see what's going on there, and adding Bane, that move is the best move of the offseason. People don't realize like how important that will be to their success, and I also think, I don't know how much minutes he'll play or what the projections are, but I could expect Jace Richardson to get some good run, especially
Mm.
towards the end of the year. So you already have the defensive foundation, and I think that goes a long way. But adding the offense is crucial to them, and they every Magic fan has the right to be excited. That's what I'll say.
That's for sure, man. Jace has been huge. He's been killing it in the preseason, just lighting it up from downtown through the 4 games, especially in the first three. Um, just looking like a steal for the Magic. Just a guy that fits not only is playing like above his draft slot, but also just fits exactly what the team needs. That it's just where like in theory, he's doing everything that the Magic kind of traded for. It's like the front office, like the goal was to find a point guard, to find some shooters. The front office finds Desmond Bain to a 3-point sniper who can score and be a little bit of a point guard. He can create, but then they also find Tyus Jones, one of the best backup point guards in the league, who can shoot and run the offense. And then they also draft was the starting point guard and probably the best of all the starting point guard options by the end of it, which goes to show how drastically different the depth is this year compared to last year. And I think Corey did a great job and actually showed kind of the archetype of what Tyus Jones will kind of bring to the table, but Tyus could do it at an even better level probably at this point. Tyus led the league in assist to turnover ratio like 7 years running. He's a knockdown 3-point shooter, just a winner at every level. So definitely a guy that you want to in your locker room. So it's a good problem to have. Like the Magic know too well that injuries are never ending, that guys will miss a night for any reason. So being able to have Desmond Bain, Jalen Suggs, Tyus Jones, Jed Howard, Anthony Black, Jace Richardson, like just being able to roll out all these different combinations. Some of them are shooters, some of them are defenders, some of them are playmakers, but most of them do a little bit of everything. Most of them don't really sacrifice the team defensive culture while also bringing some shooting and passing to the table. So, it's just like the best depth the team has had, especially the best shooting depth in the backcourt the team has had, like
Yeah,
probably
without a
since the
doubt.
Dwight years. Again,
Yeah.
we're gonna go back to the Dwight years. Like I don't think any roster has come close. I mean, we had spent like 5 years with Elfrid, Payton, and Oladipo as the backcourt before Oladipo could remotely shoot in small ball. It was a little rough back then, but we finally figured it out. Now, you've written about it here. You are the let's just ask you, the writer himself, are the Magic finally overtaking the Heat? Have we done it? Has the torch been passed?
For now, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, the number one reason that I wrote about is the depth. I mean, they can go all the way down the lineup at every position is better and younger than the Heat's core. The Heat kind of have two guys, I guess you would say, in Bam and Hero, and then who do you say after that? I guess you say Norm, but no other guy has established themselves, as their third guy, and ever since the era of big threes has, been a thing, thanks to us. And then and then I would the last thing is they have their alpha, in Paolo. So that's the most important thing. And the Heat don't have an MVP candidate. They don't have one right now. So
Yeah, and we'll see if the Magic do. I don't think it's out of the question that if the Magic are top three seed and Paulo's putting up stats, I think Paulo, the big thing will for his like award candidacy this year will just be around his efficiency, because he'll get his points, but can he do it efficiently now that he has all this spacing where the decision making should be a little more straightforward of when to kick to shooters or when to take the double team or the matchup, the mismatch. Um, and yeah, on Coach Mosley, I totally agree. I think he's like he doesn't really have like a clear like here's my 9-man rotation, other than he does seem to like continuity. He has shown that he likes lineups that work together and will roll them out. Like when we found uh the bench lineup like 2 years ago, like that was the bench lineup. Like no one affected it. It was Joe Ingles, Cole Anthony running pick and rolls with Mo Wagner, Jonathan Isaac and Gary Harris at the time, just whatever defenders were a part of it. Like there was the five. So I do think that he likes continuity. So he, on the one hand, next man up mentality. Whoever's available that night, whoever presents the best mismatch that night, that's who's probably going to play and get more minutes. But on the other hand, I do think like full go with this lineup or rotation fully available, he will fine tune that second unit. Not necessarily like when a point guard goes down, they would bring up Corey Joseph up to the third team and then keep Cole Anthony on the second team and keep Mo Wagner on the second team, mostly for that continuity. One, because they're offensive minded players that their defense probably isn't as big of a problem against second units. And two, because they have that chemistry we know works against second units of they're creating good looks against second units. Let's keep that going and let's kind of fill in different roles in the starting unit, which is a lot easier when you have stars in your starting unit and can kind of mix and match what they're doing at any given time. And now it's just the best of both worlds, where you have three stars at least, where you might be able to play, you might be able to stagger one or two stars at any given moment. Maybe it's Franz De Silva in the bench. Maybe it's Paulo and Bain coming back in after that unit with some other bench. That's probably my favorite. Are there any lineups or combos that you're most excited to see with this group?
yeah, I mean, I think the obvious one is just Suggs, Balo, and Wendell Carter Jr. I
Yeah.
think, I mean, that's got to be the go to. But I think there's another one where when you see Tyus Jones and Bain, maybe a small lineup. You can go Jones, Bain, uh, Suggs, Franz, and Paolo. Like they have so much options to do it this
Yeah.
season,
That
which is
small one
yeah,
with Jace is intriguing to me. I wonder
yeah,
if Jace
yep.
could, maybe we'll see if it's a 2K lineup or a fun small ball lineup. It's that
Maybe a
part
little
is
bit
to
of
be
both.
determined. Yeah. That, like it's definitely the one you're rolling out in 2K for maximum threes. But maybe on a pinch on a night where you need some threes, maybe that is kind of it, and we get some sort of renaissance with Paulo at the five in a small ball way. So it could be super interesting there. Are there
I
stretch?
don't
Go good.
expect yeah, I don't expect it to, have a lot of attempts or whatever, but I mean, if he can do it efficiently and just, have just everything is about spacing and just expanding the floor. So him showing that he's able to do it, he did it in Eurobasket. He has the green light I think is what he said. Coach told him he has,
Yeah.
and he's done it in the preseason. Like it's, I mean, he used to, if he would have been out of the 3 point line, don't even guard him. But now, like, it's a threat. If he's out there, they're gonna have to put a guy out there. And that's just like, it's little small details, the extra points that you can get every night and those buckets that matter so much in the final score. So
Yeah, that's a great shout. I actually asked him about that. That's where that green light quote probably came from
mhm.
at media day there. And it's funny because I remember him as a prospect. And earlier, I caught the Magic GM Jeff Weltman saying something along these lines that as a prospect, he was known for his 3 point shot. That was part of his prospect profile, and it just kind of fell out of what he was doing in the NBA. First in the Pacers, I don't think they really asked him to do that sort of thing. And now with the Magic, again, they didn't really ask him to, but he has made it clear. You're referencing his FIBA basketball. He was shooting lights out for Georgia from three. Clearly confident as a shooter, and when his actual quote, he's had confidence all along. Like he's always been a confident shooter. It's just now he has a little bit more experience on the pro level and maybe just a slight bit. It's like he was never told not to shoot, but maybe he feels a little more comfortable doing it now because every shot matters in the NBA, especially every possession, especially farther in the postseason that you get. But maybe he didn't want to risk it or thought the team could get a better shot. But I think he has full support, a full go from the coaching staff, and belief in his own shot that he can hit it. So we'll see other players because you can only get away with so many non-shooters at any given moment. Normally, it's one that you can get away with, and it's a big man. So if you get a stretch big out of that, it kind of opens up the floor where maybe you can get away with a non-shooter elsewhere because Goga is now stretching the floor a little bit. So definitely, yeah, definitely interested. See how it plays out here, and where Goga ends up in the rotation because we are officially at a good problem to have, but almost too many guys to actually play at any one given moment. So, who's going to make the cut? I think lucky for the Magic fans, like we're hitting on, is that it's not going to be cut and dry. Here's the top nine, and no one else is going to see the court until somebody gets hurt. Like it's just not going to be that. That's not how Coach Mosley does it. It seems like he's much more likely he might stabilize that bench five, but he'll sprinkle in third string guys if he needs to.
Mhm.
And at the same time, this team is so top heavy talent wise, it's just going to be hard to get playing time with everyone fully healthy. So that is what it is. That means if everyone's healthy, you might see the rookies down in the G League a little bit more, just like we saw Jet Howard the last few seasons, getting more reps, high volume, primary usage. And it seemed to have done wonders for Jet Howard so far because Jet's looking like he's really well rounded his game, not to be
Mhm.
as quick trigger without thinking about any other option, even though he's
And confident in like his whole skill set. So
yeah, and just making little plays, like making team first plays, I think is the thing that clicked for him most is that, it doesn't all have to be a 3 point shot that comes off a step back or whatever it might be. Like he can hit that when it's appropriate, probably is where he seems to have arrived at is the decision making and the feel. Second unit, but we'll see because that's kind of a big second unit. We between Anthony Black, De Silva, and Isaac, one of them could be on the third team because you might only play two forwards there. Between
yeah,
Jet, Jace, and Tyus, one of them is going to be on the third team. You can only play two there. So early on, I think and I didn't even mention Noah Penda. So early on, I think the rookies will have to fight for playing time a little bit. But like we mentioned before, Jace has played good enough to play right now. Like I'm ready, and Penda too, honestly, but Jace especially. I'm ready to see them get reps as soon as possible.
yeah.
But if the injuries don't happen, then it's going to be hard for everybody to play on this main unit. So lastly, I guess, are there any players you think that pop out on this team by the end of the season where maybe it is Jace, but where it's like this guy is clearly much more important to this team than we maybe initially realized before the season?
Yeah, I think. I mean, it may be the obvious answer, but just because of the past injury concerns, but I feel like Jonathan Isaac Just
Mm.
like he's just like another guy that the potential is there, but just so much injury problems with him. And his ability to just do it all. I think he's another guy that like even if he's your seventh guy in the rotation, his minutes are so impactful. And him being on the floor is essential, to the second unit success. If anybody, gets hurt, just being able to step in and have another guy that could be, starter caliber, but earn it due to his injury and stuff like that. So I think he has a good potential to be one of those guys.
Yeah, that's a great shout. He's a true wild card because of what you just said. He was arguably the most impactful defender in the league when he was fully healthy before all these injuries, and it zapped him a little bit of that. But he's still incredible defender, especially an elite team defender. Like you said, like you can throw him out there with that was an interesting dynamic. So definitely he definitely can see him as a wild card this year. If he gets that catch and shoot 3-point shot at all trustable with just one little, he likes the pump fake step in, the elbow midi pull up, like one closeout attack that way, and then can play finish like he's been doing. I mean, there is something there, and to your point, like he is reliable in a plug and play way, especially defensively, where you can just
Mm-hmm.
throw him at anybody and
Yeah,
slow him down.
and last year, was kind of an anomaly in regards to shooting for him. The previous 2 years, like I think he was like 38% one and like 40 the other. And then last year, his 3-point percentage was down in like the mid 20s. And in 23-24, he was receiving votes for sixth man of the year. So I think if he can find his offensive rhythm again, and the defense is there, we all know it. I know a few years back he was averaging a steal and 2 blocks per game in limited minutes. So it'll be good to see. Hopefully, have him bounce back and stay healthy for another season.
Yeah, and I asked him as well. He said there's no minutes restriction on him this year. I think that was kind of like a rumor, was not even a rumor, but he played like 26 minutes per game, I think, last year. And on the one hand, he actually played a lot of games. I want to say he played more games than he has. Like I think he hit 70 or something, and
Yeah,
I don't know if he's
last year
ever.
he had 71,
Yeah, and
which
I
is
don't
the
know if he ever did
second
that.
most he ever.
So hit 70 last year, and maybe that was due to the minutes plan. Maybe that's a part of it. Is let's not play him starter minutes. Let's keep him at 27, keep him fresh for the playoffs, and he's and he'll be ready for the playoffs. Just blanked what I was saying there, but that that's all right. In terms of
It'll be the Magic. I did
ah,
my thing the other day. I have the Magic and the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. So
all right,
those are
now we're
my two.
talking. I just like to hear that the Magic are supposed to be pretty good. It's nice to hear it once in a while. I appreciate it, man. It's been a lot of fun. Check out Austin Dobbins' work, especially on SI with the Miami Heat, Orlando Magic websites. Can't wait to get rolling this season. Excited to be a part of the team, and thanks for taking the time today, Austin.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on, man.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.